Hi, I'm Miss Wright, a fifth grade language arts literacy teacher at Quarter Mile Lane. And today I just wanted to introduce some of the amazing programs and resources that we use at Quarter Mile Lane to make sure that your child is learning how to read and write. Before we get started, please remember all assignments are placed on Microsoft Teams with detailed directions and assignment due dates. So if a student is absent, they can just go right to Microsoft Teams and see the assignments that they missed for the day. There are several important resources students use weekly to support learning. And no, we don't use all of these resources every week during the same week because that would be overwhelming. But we wanted to introduce them to you. And then as teachers, we decide which resources work best to teach a particular skill. My favorite resource is the Nearpod platform. Nearpod shows and tracks live participation, which means as soon as a student submits a response, we can actually see it. We can actually see an answer or answers. They get instant feedback. We also know if we need to work with students, pull them out in what we call breakout sessions and give them some extra remediation. It also shows if students are doing really well and we know we need to make the next level of instruction more complex. My favorite reason for using live participation is that students aren't tempted to sneak off. Unfortunately, we still have some students who log on to WebEx and then decide to go in another room and watch TV or go outside and play and think that no one knows that there's really no one in front of the screen. Nearpod also tracks student progress. So it actually allows teachers to print reports and show this student needs some help in this area. We don't have to, as educators, try to figure out who needs what help. It's all printed for us. Nearpod also allows students to learn through interactive videos, games, quizzes, and virtual field trips. So instead of just reading about the pyramids in Egypt, they can take a virtual field trip to the pyramids in Egypt. Another important resource is Think Central. Since we're not physically in school, the students don't have access to their reading textbooks and the stories that are in them. So what can we do about it? We can access the same materials through Think Central. Students can access the digital version of their Journeys reading book by clicking the My Library link, clicking Reading, and then finding their book and opening it. This allows students to read, reread, and prepare for a test. Students access and complete their reading assessments, their reading tests, through the Things to Do link. A lot of our tests are given through Think Central. And all they have to do is click on the Things to Do link, and it will show what tests they need to complete or what assignments they need to complete besides tests. One of my other favorites is the IXL Language Arts platform. Why do I love it? Because once again, it has and demonstrates and shows live participation. That means that a teacher can assign some skill for the students to practice. And then from the teacher angle, we can actually go in, see if the student is live in IXL, see if they are working on the assigned skill, and actually see how they're doing. We can tell if a student needs help or if a student may need some skill that's a little more challenging, a little more complex for them. IXL allows the teacher to differentiate the assignments based on each student's academic need. So we might work on main idea, but some students may be on a second grade level. The material that they need to read is on a second grade level, and even the complexity of main ideas on a second grade level. We can assign main idea on a second grade level. Some students may be advanced and need that same skill on a more complex level for seventh grade. We can individualize instruction and practice through IXL. Students can practice an assigned skill until they reach mastery. So it's not like you get 5 questions. If you get 4 wrong, oh my goodness, it's a 20. No, the student can have all week to practice and perfect that skill. So they might get all of them wrong the first day. By the third day, it clicks and they know exactly what to do. And now all of a sudden they went from a 0 on day 1 to 100 on day 3. Common Lit is another wonderful platform. Students access complex stories on their reading level to practice learned skills. Common Lit starts off at third grade. So any student who's working on a third grade or above level, teachers can assign Common Lit. If we're working on, let's say, theme, that's the skill of the week, we practice whole group, and then they can go into independent practice and focus on that theme skill using a different piece of literature. That's also called a cold read. A cold read means that the student is applying the same skill they learned in whole group to a particular story that they've never read before. That really shows that they understand the skill that's being taught. The other wonderful thing about Common Lit, the stories and questions are similar to the NJSLA. So whenever we have the statewide test, which is the NJSLA, the students will be very familiar, and it'll just be like, this is what we do all the time because we're on Common Lit and we are well prepared for the statewide assessment. No big deal. Finally, Kids A to Z. Kids A to Z allows the teacher to differentiate the assignments based on each student's academic need and reading level. So if we're working on cause and effect, well, we might have a student who's on first grade. They need to practice cause and effect, but they need to use and read first grade material. We have students who are on a seventh grade reading level. They need to practice cause and effect, but they would be, of course, extremely bored with a first grade passage. So the books that they read would be on a seventh grade level, and they would continue to practice that skill, cause and effect. Also, Kids A to Z contains engaging stories and informational books on different reading levels. The students all have access to Kids A to Z, and they're actually libraries, so a student can pick a book of interest just to read because it's fun to read, not because there's an assignment attached to it. And we encourage that. We encourage students to unplug off of computers and games and spend some time just enjoying a good book. And while going to the library may not be an option right now, Kids A to Z definitely is. So thank you for viewing this presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me on Class Dojo or your child's homeroom teacher, and I will be more than happy to answer any questions.